I used to meditate regularly. I found it helpful, although for someone who at that point had never experienced emotional pain, the only real challenge was focusing my ever-overclocking brain, shutting out distraction for just 10 minutes or so. Then I was hit by a car, nearly died, and as a result I became a different person. I can't meditate anymore. It will inevitably make me cry, sometimes I'll even scream. In my daily life, I'm happy at work, I like spending time with friends and family, I go out, I make costumes and art. From the outside, I seem to be recovering well. 6 months after the hit and run, and all I need now is a crutch to get around. But there's a lot of pain beneath the surface. Beyond the physical pain, although there is plenty of that. The pain in my broken leg, and the head trauma. Plus there's the fatigue, the lack of taste, or sense of smell, the list goes on. I'm functional but broken. Broken but functional. I went out recently to the shops without my crutch to see if I was capable of doing so. I had to go home after about half an hour, the pain was too much, but I noticed something else. People had suddenly gone from patient and caring to complete assholes. My pain was now invisible, and I was suddenly made aware of how incapable I was of keeping up with everyone else. All I ever wanted to be was strong. I used to sleep very well. Now I battle with insomnia. It seems that it's always around nighttime that the rage takes over. I'm just consumed with aimless anger at myself, at anyone, at anything. I get worked up and I can't wind down. I can't meditate anymore. There's evidence to show that meditation for those suffering from PTSD don't benefit from traditional meditation. Exercise helps, but given my physical condition, I'm limited in what I can do. There's always a temptation to push it too far, to try to be as strong as I can be. Self-inflicted pain is a welcome reprieve from the usual variety of pain. I can't meditate anymore, so how do I manage my tumultuous mind? Lately I've been wandering through Afghanistan on horseback, in Metal Gear Solid 5. I finished the story part of the game a couple of months ago, but overall I've only completed about 40% of everything it has to offer. I've been hyper-fixated on Metal Gear since leaving the hospital. For a while there, it's the only thing I wanted to do. Naturally, there are accusations of autism, but this is a common response after trauma. Your world becomes much smaller. I'm slowly opening up to more games and movies and TV shows again, but Metal Gear is my security blanket. And yet it is by equal measures comforting and confronting. I won't go into depth about my experience with the story itself, see my other video for that, but to summarize, it is a story steeped in pain, bearing the scars of trauma both remembered and erased from memory. Through Venom Snake and Kazuhiro Miller, I've been able to relive my own trauma in a safe, fictitious setting. I'm strong, indestructible, I'm nuclear, I'm wild. I'm able to hunt down the man who did this to me and exact my revenge. I completed the story, I reached my catharsis. I backed away from Phantom Pain and turned my attention to Peace Walker again. I had played it about a year prior, but it was only now that I realized it was also an exploration of Big Boss's PTSD too.
No. Did you defect to the Soviet Union of your own free will?
There is no mission record matching that description.
Ah,
Jack,
you're not the boss. The boss is dead.
don't do it, Jack.
When I finished Peace Walker, I returned to Phantom Pain, because I discovered a mod to play as Kazuhiro. At first I was having a great time, riding around on D-Horse, until Kaz was taken out by an enemy sniper without warning. I jumped in my seat. For some reason, seeing Kaz hurt always upsets me a little. I can watch Snake get murdered 100 times without flinching, but not Kazuhiro for some reason. It was a few days later that I discovered something. As I wandered around Afghanistan one night playing as Kazuhiro with D-Horse as my buddy, listening to the cassette tapes of 80s pop songs I'd collected throughout the game, I felt calm, sighing with a kind of contentment I hadn't known in at least half a year. I was ashamed to have to stop it and go to bed, but at least falling asleep was easy, and I slept the whole night through for once. I would return every few days to rescue one of the wandering soldiers, a bittersweet mission bringing home some of your soldiers who seem to have lost their minds after the trauma of the fall of the last mother base.
Boss, I knew you were alive. I'm so happy, boss.
One of the guys out on a mission at the time. He's fallen a long way from the glory days. But will he come back to us? Bring him home, boss.
One night I found myself near Daguan-Daikar, the location of your first mission, Phantom Limbs, to rescue Miller. Perhaps I was possessed by a sick sense of curiosity to take Miller back to his own personal hell. The game, however, seemed to have other ideas. There was a series of roadblocks in my way that seemed to come out of nowhere. I should note that I've never experienced any glitches while using this mod or any other through the Snakebite Manager if you want to get technical. There were 2 roads I could take to the settlement. On either side there's always manned outposts there, as expected. What was not expected was how absurdly overpowered they were. It should not have been this difficult to sneak past or blast my way through, but it was, and suddenly there was an attack helicopter on me, and it was just not expected, I will say that. So, I decided to call in my own chopper, P-Quad. I thought I'll just get out of here that way. And then a sandstorm arrived, preventing him from landing. So I used a phantom cigar to pass the time, and the sandstorm was still there. So I had to repeat the process, and finally, I'm free. I get on P-Quad, and we're on our way to Daguan-Daikar. Again, the troop station there presents a challenge, but the weirdest part was that there's a tank battle side-op positioned on the edge of that town, which was not there on the map before I arrived. But now I'm here, and on the map, there it is, and as far as I can tell, it's supposed to be there, it just hadn't appeared until I arrived. I felt like I was on some kind of spirit journey, or maybe I was entering my own personal creepypasta. Everything wanted me to turn back, which only made me want to try harder to reach my goal. When I eventually got to the room I was looking for, I'm not sure what I expected, but it was surreal to stand there in the daylight. This place that had once seemed so nightmarish was now just a dilapidated room. The guards I had snuck past were still outside. I wasn't safe, but now I could fight back. I was playing as Kazuhira, whole and healed in a way that would never really be possible. What was taken from him would never come back. I was using this game in ways it was never intended for, having an experience that was never scripted. And that's what I love about games. Even within a story-based game like this, there's always room for it to become your own private virtual world. It had given me a lot to think about. It allowed me, by proxy, to revisit the scene of a trauma, just as I had been able to return to the road where I'd nearly been killed in real life. I looked around me and saw no evidence of the pain that had been experienced there. Just as people look at me now, and if my scars are covered, there's no evidence of the pain that had been experienced.